Hey, this is Dr. John Delony with Ramsey Network, and it's awesome to see you today. This week we're going to be talking about what happened here, and what happened in our communities and our families. And we're going to talk about a subject that's a big deal to me as a crisis responder, as a trauma worker, and as just a dad and a husband. And so for the next couple of days, we're going to be talking about what happened, what can we do about it, and then how can we do it well, right? And how can we all be whole together moving forward? All right, so let's roll back about 2 months. Here we go. The emails started coming in. Hey, we're going to extend spring break a week, right? And then all of a sudden, school's canceled. And then Little League's canceled. And then basketball games quit playing. And the NBA stopped playing games. And a musician buddy of mine had thousands of dollars of gigs that just vanished overnight. Now big groups. Now my church isn't meeting. We did Easter by ourselves for the first time in my whole family's anything, right? Millions and millions of people out of work, and this domino just started falling. And it got big and it got little, right? My son lost his 10th birthday, right? All the friends we had coming over, gone. My daughter celebrated her Easter party, she's 4, celebrated her Easter party via Zoom, and it was just a drunken, chaotic mess. There was no drinking, but it felt that way, right? And then I had a couple of buddies who lost parents. Like elderly parents. They had to have tiny funerals, small get-togethers. It broke my heart when one of my friends detailed losing her dad and not being able to hug her own mom at her funeral because she was in a high-risk category. If you watch the internets, we saw folks cycle in and out of disbelief and pure adrenaline and let's solve this, and Pinterest stuff blew up with here's how to homeschool and here's how to do this. And as the country's starting to wake up and figure out what tomorrow's going to look like, and we're going to play half of a baseball season with no people in the stands, and our summer vacation schedules are all going to be canceled, right? They're going to be modified or here. We may be able to go to church once a month or get our hair cut somewhere. As we figure out what's coming, I want to make sure that as the adrenaline fades, as the excitement of all this goes away, as we start to live into the reality that millions and millions of people are out of work and trying to claw their way back into the workforce, as we all wake up, I want to make sure that we don't miss out on one key foundational element, and that is that we have to grieve what we lost. If we just brush over the missed graduations, we blow off the missed proms, we just say, oh man, I lost that job, I didn't like it anyway, let's go get the next one. If we don't realize what happened by canceling a chunk of the school year, or if we don't acknowledge these things, they're going to eat us up from the inside. And so we often think of grief as what you do when somebody dies. Something big. It's a big neon sign that flashes. This is grief. You get 3 days off of work, and then you got to go back, and you should be over it by then. And I want to suggest that grief is something that happens with any loss, anytime we have pain, because all pain is a signal that we loved something, that we were excited about something, that we're going to miss something. And that can be big and that can be small. So I want to give you 3 things today that is so important when it comes to grieving. Number 1, you have to give yourself permission to grieve. This is not the time to be tough. This isn't time to hit the gas and drive through it. It's not the time to say, my stuff didn't matter, I just had to. You gotta give yourself space to stop and sit down and say, that sucked. You gotta get a piece of paper and write down, I lost this, I lost this. I was dreaming about this. I had plans for that. Number 2, you gotta give other people space to grieve as well. It's real easy to tell my daughter, it's just your program. No one likes to go to an Easter program anyway, right? Or you know the worst thing on earth? Someone else's graduation ceremony. When you're just sitting there for hours, just wishing someone would spontaneously combust for something to watch, right? You're just sitting there. It's the worst. But it meant something to them. And it meant something to their family and to their granddad who didn't get to go to college and worked 12-hour days, 7 days a week for his whole life so that one day his grandkid could go to school. These things mean something to us collectively. And we have to give other people permission to grieve. And this is so important. Everybody grieves differently. And that brings me to number 3. We cannot compare grief. My grief isn't better than yours, and yours isn't less than mine. And so what some of us do when we're trying to be tough is we say, man, this hurts. I haven't missed a family Easter in 10 years, but they missed a graduation. And yeah, we missed a graduation, but they had somebody get sick and go to the hospital. Here's the thing, loss is loss, and pain is pain, and hurt is hurt, and grief is universal. Don't compare grief. If it hurts, it hurts. If you've got pain, acknowledge it. If your friends are hurting, acknowledge it. One of the things that breaks up couples who go through significant loss, like the loss of a child or the loss of a parent, is that it hurts for both, but that people grieve differently. And over time, they start to think, shouldn't you be over that by now? And why aren't you crying enough? And it all comes back to comparing grief. In this season, you've got to give yourself space to grieve. You've got to give those around you, collectively, folks you don't even know, this country, you've got to give others space to grieve. And you cannot compare grief. Let people hurt, feel it, and then go be brave. And fourth, for a bonus, I know I only said 3, but here's a 4th bonus. You cannot grieve alone. Thank you for joining me today. If you want more information on grief, wrestling with the big picture, the small pictures, click at the link below. I've got an article that I just wrote. It's at daveramsey.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I want to keep this going, and I love hanging out with you. I don't have a lot of friends. This is good for me. And follow me at John Delony, and I will see you soon. Take care.